Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day of 30 NSG. We're doing the daily grind this morning, and it's news stories time. On today's show, we're going to be talking about Redfall. It says Redfall has found a player base at launch on Xbox despite the poor reviews. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about what the future is of Xbox. There was an article from Reddit, or not an article, a post on Reddit. And it says the state of Xbox Studios, Bethesda Software, a breakdown of all confirmed projects, leaks, rumors for future Microsoft gaming division. So we're going to go over that as well. And we're also going to cover No Man's Sky. There was a post that I came across a long time ago, but it was posted a long time ago. But I always talk about No Man's Sky, and I want to talk about why can they do what they're doing as far as making the money that they're making and not charging microtransactions? And should this be what video game companies should look for moving in the future? So that's what's on the docket today. Give me 1 second. I just got to make sure my stream is up. And all right. So that's what we're doing this morning. What's going on, Super Dave? Appreciate everyone coming out and hanging out with us. Make sure you hit that like button. We're a very small channel. So if you like what we do here, and we have a conversation with live stream, if you have a question for me, you can put it in the Q&A link up above, and I'll get through those throughout the show. Don't let me know. Don't tell me that there's a question. I'll read them when I get to them and whatnot. All right, so let's start off by Redfall has found a player base at launch on Xbox despite the poor reviews. It says, now this comes from Xbox Era. It says Redfall has faced a lot of criticism from the critics in the last week, so much so that Xbox and Microsoft are imploding. Everyone's abandoned ship, and everyone's thinking that Xbox is done. Phil Spencer is done. But Phil Spencer publicly apologized for the game's failure to meet expectations. Even with the game not being well received by many, the game has charted highly in the Xbox ecosystem during its launch week. Now, looking at Microsoft's U.S. website shows at the time of the article that Redfall is currently 12th most played game overall on the console and second most played game on Game Pass on console. Now, this is huge, right? Because I've been talking about this, but I want to let me boost up my Xbox for a second, because I want to look at the achievement list. For a second. Okay, so everyone's always wondering, did it make money? Did it make money? Did it make money? And I've been saying from 4 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, that Microsoft's in a completely different game, right? They're not playing the same game anymore. They've moved on. It's all about Game Pass. It's all about what's the word I'm looking for? The engagement of what people are doing on Game Pass. So let me go over to, I deleted Redfall, so I have to find, hold on, Game Pass. I gotta go to Game Pass and find Redfall so I can look up the game card and get the achievement list here. Give me 1 second. Now, this is kind of contradictive, right? So let's look at the achievement list, because what they're saying here is the second most game played on Game Pass as we speak, right? So let me bring this up on the screen. Okay, and all depending on what region you go to, it's in different spots, right? So it's number 2 on this particular spot here. Okay, on this one, it's number, I think, 4, 8, 12. Okay, so it says Redfall has now fallen to a 59 on OC at the time of this article, with numerous reviews calling it one of the worst titles of the year and a stain on the platform. Okay, they had their own review as well, had a far more positive take on the title, scoring it at 8.5. Now, Phil Spencer joined XCast Kind of Funny Games and spoke about the comment and letting Arcane Studios continue to make the games they want to make, despite Redfall's critical failures. Now, Redfall has received its first patch, as well as focus on minor bugs, and can be found here in the list below. Now, so what I find interesting is that if it's number 2 on Game Pass, okay, let's bring up let's bring up the actual. Here's the gamer score or the achievement list. Okay, now if it's the 12th most popular game on the platform, but number 2 on Game Pass, you would think that the achievements would be pretty high, right? So let's try to find something that you would do, you know, easy to get. Easy to get. Okay, let's see. Complete all the main missions in Redfall Commons. Now, Redfall Commons is the first game area. Okay. We have 6.21% of Redfall players. Now imagine this. It's the most popular game, second most popular game on Game Pass in the first week. But yet only 6% on Game Pass, okay, is completed the Redfall Commons. Okay. Let me see if we can find something else. Optional campaign missions, it's 0.86%. Welcome to the neighborhood. Complete your first neighborhood, meaning everyone's done with the first map going into the second map. Only 18% have even made it to the second map. Okay. Which is, right? Remember, second most popular game on Game Pass, but yet only 18% have done this. Okay. Complete all neighborhoods in Redfall Commons. Okay. 3%. Complete all neighborhoods in Brutal Point is 0.46. Oh, I'm sorry. Brutal Point is the first, I believe is the first section. Okay. So these Game Pass numbers need to know, like, and this is why I don't like the transparency of this. The transparency of what Redfall is. It's the second most popular game on Game Pass and the 12th most popular game on the console. But what is that number? If 10 people happen to be playing on Game Pass and 6 of those people are playing Redfall, then it would be the second most popular game on Game Pass if 6 of the 10 people are playing it on Game Pass. But you don't actually know those numbers. And this is what I don't like about the industry that we stand in right now. Okay? Because they don't show us numbers, and the only reason they show us numbers is when the numbers are actually good. Okay? When they're like, oh, 5 million people have played it, 10 million people have played it. Doesn't mean how long they've played it. But the reason I go to the achievement list is because that is a number. That is a substance number that we can look at and go, you're telling me this many people are playing it, but your achievement list says otherwise. Okay? So it is very strange to me to say that it's the 12th most popular game on Xbox or on the platform, and it's the second most popular on Game Pass, but yet the numbers that are on the achievement list say otherwise, right? What's going on, Sarge? What's going on, Chief? Right, to prove their point. So it's interesting to me, right? So they're like, oh, the article says, well, they've found a player base. They found a player base. Why can't I? Okay. Right. So it says found a player base at launch on Xbox despite the poor reviews. What is that player base? The player base, even though it's the second most on Game Pass, the achievement list says otherwise. So I'm trying to see if there's another one. Complete the main mission, destroy all Hollow Men, destroy Blood, destroy this Whisper, destroy your first Rook. Okay. The Rook is a person that comes out when you're playing the game. The more you kill, the more it shows. It says 10%. 10%, okay, 10% of the people that have played the second most popular game on Game Pass in this week, yet only 10% of the people have killed their first Rook. Okay. This is what I don't understand. So what's the truth here? Okay. What are the numbers? Show us the numbers. Show us the sales. Okay. This continues and goes into my next topic that we'll bring up, but I kind of want to look at, I'm trying to look at these achievement lists here. Let me see if there's one that says like complete the game or something. Kill Bombs Radio achievement is secret. Complete all side missions. Complete all side missions in Brutal Point. Complete the lost unit without triggering, no. Is there a one that says complete the game? Like complete without vampire. Grave locks, destroy. Like I'm looking for an easy. Okay, complete all main missions in Brutal Point. All main missions in Brutal Point. If I recall correctly, Brutal Point is the first map section, right? What's going on, boss? Okay, Brutal Point was the, I believe. Let me look this up. Let me look it up. Redfall map. I believe it's Brutal Point is the first map, right? Or is Brutal Point the second map? Redfall's map names. All maps and icons. So we have Redfall. No. Is anybody playing the game? See, this is bad. I don't have the game. I don't feel like downloading it again. So I could, all maps and icons. Okay, so there's Redfall map, Brutal Point map, and then there's the other one, which is... Okay, all right. So this is the second map. So what's the first map called? The first map is called just Redfall map. Okay, so this is the second map. Okay, so this is the second map. It's been out a week, right? It's been out for a complete and utter week now. And 0.93% of the people have completed the second map. Okay, let's see if we can get a completion of the first map. Complete the neighborhoods in Brutal Point. Complete the neighborhoods in Redfall Commons. Okay, all neighborhoods. And so this is it right here. Complete all neighborhoods in Redfall Commons, which is the first map. 3% have completed the first map to move on to the second map. That's abysmal. That's abysmal. Just got here, but we're lying numbers. Yeah, so we're talking about Redfall. There's an article out there, boss, that says Redfall, even though with the bad reviews and whatnot, it's the 12th most popular game on Xbox, right? On the community, okay? But on Game Pass, it's the second most played game this past week on Game Pass. Okay? So by those numbers, you would think that tons and tons and tons, because you got to remember there's 25 million people that have Game Pass, okay? And yet you look at the number. So if we're talking let's do some general math here. Okay? 25 million. What's 3%? That's what? Less than 1%? Less than 1% of the total, right? 25 million. Yeah, about 750,000, right? That's terrible, right? That's terrible. Yeah, but 3% of what, bro? What's the issue? 3% of total Xbox? Yeah, of anybody that's playing the game, Sarge. Anybody that plays the game on Game Pass, right? It's actually less than that, because there's only 10 million people that have Game Pass on Xbox. Okay, so 3% of 10 million. I don't know if this includes the PC version. I have no idea. I don't think it does, of Game Pass. Okay, but 3% of the population in Redfall. And this is the second most popular game on Game Pass right now. It's not terrible for them. You want them to show the sales in Redfall. No, that's basically not it. I want to know a number because you can't look at sales numbers anymore. Krebsy was talking back and forth a little bit on Discord, and we're talking about how the article's saying that, you know, it didn't sell well or whatnot, and didn't make a lot of money, but it's the second most popular game this week on Game Pass, right? You, with Xbox, can't look at... With Sony, you can look at traditional media and say, oh, it sold 11 million copies, it sold 9 million copies, it sold 3 million copies, whatever the game is, right? When they boast the numbers, they can say sold that many numbers. With Xbox, you can't go by that number anymore because even the numbers that they sell, let's just say they sold 500,000 copies at $70 a piece. That looks terrible, but at the same time, 20 million people could have played it. So you have to look at the engagement numbers, but they don't even tell you the engagement numbers of the people that are playing on Game Pass. They hide everything. Okay? Morning, Super Dave. Right? They hide everything. They don't tell you when or where or how many people are engaging. They just tell you a very generic number of it's the second most popular game on Game Pass this week. But then you look at the achievement numbers, and the achievement numbers are so small and minute, it's ridiculous. Perhaps Redfall is so popular, it has 2 billion players at 3% of 2 billion gamers, opposed to 3% of 100 million, right? Only on Game Pass or on Xbox, period. Purchase and Game Pass. No, the article says it's the 12th most popular game on Xbox, but it's the second most popular game on Game Pass, right? Quintar says, just because people are playing it doesn't mean it's good. They might be playing it because of all the attention it's getting. Sure, but that's my point. We can't look, and this is what Microsoft has done, right? This is what Netflix has done, right? In the old day of media, you could look at numbers. You could see physical numbers, and the numbers of what a box office does tells people how popular the movie is. If it high number means people are going out to see it, so it must be good, right? Regardless, the generalistic statement. If a movie makes a lot of money, I got to see it because a lot of people are seeing it. It makes a lot of money. Now there's a blurred line between it, right? Because now movie prices are higher, less people are seeing it, and the number is higher, and they kind of show that to you. That's the same thing that's happening with Microsoft, right? Netflix just tells you, they tell you how many hours have been watched. They don't tell you how many people have watched it, right? They don't tell you the amount of counts that have accessed it. They tell you there's a household that has it and they watched it for 30 minutes and they average 4 people, so they watched it for 2 hours type of thing, right? That's what they're doing. They're hiding the numbers of stuff, and this is another thing that Microsoft is doing. It doesn't matter if they sold 2 million copies. It doesn't matter if they sold 5 million copies. It all matters on how many people engaged with it on Xbox, and it's the second most popular title this week. They use the words to say what it is. Doesn't make sense. Second most popular game on Game Pass, but the achievement are so low. Even getting past Brutal Point, which you said is the second area. Right, to get to Brutal Point, right? Redfall Commons is the first area. It's 3.10% of gamers have gotten past the first map. Okay, to get and complete Brutal Point, which means basically, I'm assuming I don't know, I haven't beaten the game or played the game that far along. They got to the second map and they complete it. So from the people that completed all the neighborhoods in Redfall Commons is 3% of the second most popular game on Game Pass. And then the people that completed it went down to 0.46%, less than 0.5% to beat the actual game of the second most popular game on Game Pass, right? Yeah, Redfall's the first map. There's 2 maps, right? There's 2 maps in this game, right? There's this one, okay, and then there's this one. Sounds familiar, 30? Puts you in the mind of Avengers in terms of completion percentage, and we know that how that turned out. Exactly, Water, right? What I love about numbers is numbers don't lie. So you can't tell me that there's 10 million people playing it, okay? Unless the numbers of people that downloaded it obviously. So if there's only 10 people that downloaded it and 5 people completed it, then it would be a 50% completion rate, right? We don't know that top number. We don't know how many people accessed it on Game Pass and PC or Xbox, if it was the 10 million, if it was 15 million, if it was 20 million, if it was all 25 million. We don't know, right? and that's the thing. You'll never know these numbers. So even when there's a commercial flop, right? Here, I'll put my YouTube channel onto the same type of platform, right? If I hid the numbers, right? There's 21 people here at this very moment that are watching this video. But if I shut the watcher off where you can't see the view count, okay? You can't see the view count. I could tell you that there's 100 people watching. There's 1,000 people watching just because I say, hey, thanks for all 1,000 people here live watching now. You wouldn't know, right? Because I don't show the number, but I do show the number, right? Because I think transparency is part of what it should be. They should be transparent and say, this is how many people interact with it. This is how many people downloaded it. This is how many people, but they don't do that, right? Because they don't care about those actual numbers anymore. They don't care, right? So when articles are written and they tell you that it's the second most popular game in the week, or it's the 10th most popular or 12th most popular game on an Xbox platform, we don't know the other numbers. We don't know what the first place game is compared to the 12th place game. It could be 5 million and 12, right? We have no idea. Well, it goes across the board of all businesses. Water transparency is what it should be. Like, I want to know, right? You could tell, right? When you play an MMO, if an MMO is bad, you can just log in and see the player base, right? You can see how many people. You know if a server's busy. You know if a server's not busy. You know, right? It doesn't matter what they tell you and how fancy they tell you. You're like, no, this game is dead. Right? You know what I mean? Krebsy says Hi-Fi Rush didn't make the money it needed to. I doubt Redfall will make its money. But Krebsy, as I said in Discord, you can't look at traditional media of when it sells and how much money it made. That's not the value they're looking at anymore. They're looking at metrics of how many people are engaging with the game when they put it on Game Pass, right? So think about this. If Game Pass comes out and someone wants to play Redfall, they don't have Game Pass at that moment, okay? But they play Game Pass to try Redfall. That's 1 month of $10 from that person. Now, they might cancel it the next month. But if they played it, they have their money that month, so they know the engagement of the person that paid $10 that month and the engagement of that person if they played it, right? They'll never tell us those numbers. You can no longer look at Xbox and say, well, it's popular or not popular, because they don't care about how many sales they get. The sales are the bonus on top of the interaction engagement of Game Pass. Does that make sense? Numbers don't lie, but you can use the wrong numbers to tell a story, just like you don't count home sales in the factor of inflation now. So inflation is real low. Right. I think that isn't going to mean anything if the consumers, when you don't know numbers. Exactly, right? We gauge as humans, we gauge by visual or what we know by numbers, right? If you walk into a mall, and you see the mall's empty, you're like, this mall's dead. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be at this mall because this mall is dead. Okay? And then all of a sudden, you look across the street, and the other mall is packed. You're like, I'm going to go over there. Even though it's more packed, you're like, that's the popular place to be. You can't tell me if the dead mall is like, yeah, we have 100,000 people here. You're like, bro, you don't. You know what I mean? Makes it money, and then being the game's performance off Game Pass is successful on Game Pass, it would of increased Game Pass subs. Not particularly. It doesn't mean it's going to raise, like, if they have 25 million Game Pass members now, doesn't mean that all of a sudden they're going to get 5 more million people. It just means that 25 million people stayed on Game Pass because they had another game that comes out. Do you see what I'm saying? So obviously it all depends, but let's say in this scenario that everyone's subscription starts back over on the 1st. Okay? Starts back on the 1st. Well, the game comes out on the second week of the month, right? So they add another game in the second week in the month of going on. So you're like, oh, I have Game Pass now. Oh, the next game's coming out, which is Redfall, right? So I'm like, I want to see what Redfall is. So I keep my subscription, and it now concludes over to the next month. So now I'm in for May. It comes out the second week of May, and then all of a sudden they tell me the next game's coming out. Well, here's the next game that's coming out on Game Pass, and you're like, oh, that looks pretty good. You know what? I'm going to keep my subscription for the next month, right? And then you play the next new game that comes out. So on and so forth. They keep you coming back. Hence why Disney Plus does 8 weeks or 6 weeks of shows. Why is that? Because if you're interested in the show, you're now paying for 2 months. You're included into 2 months because you're watching the first episode. You're like, I'm hooked. 2 episodes into the next month, you've included into the next month, and then they advertise the next thing the following month. That is the game plan for Microsoft. That is what happens. We will revisit Redfall in 18 months and say it's a complete game finally. We're going to talk about that in a second, right? We're going to talk about No Man's Sky in a second because I came across an article a little bit. What's going on, Buck? I wonder how much they make on microtransactions from Game Pass games. It all depends, though, right? Because right now, Redfall doesn't have any microtransactions. It will have DLC. Now, I don't know if that DLC is going to be paid for, Buck, or if it's going to be free like other games. But I know that they're going to add something along the lines, and if it's like Minecraft Dungeons, or if it's like Forza Horizon 5, or anything like that, where you buy the DLC and add to the game, they'll make money off that. So they give you the base game, right, the free sample, and then you pay for the DLC or whatnot, and then they update it, and they make it better over time, right? Boss says, are they hidden dead bodies somewhere under the mall? Was it built over an Indian burial ground, like Poltergeist? I'm definitely canceling all my gaming subs except PlayStation on the 1st. Only game that has been playing is what, at least until Final Fantasy 16 drops. Glad I watch content creators instead of reading biased articles. No Man's Sky, you meant the real Starfield? Yeah, we could talk about that as well. You see what I'm saying, though, as far as... So it's very interesting. Now, obviously, this is not Xbox coming out. This is Xbox Era. This is not official from Xbox telling you that it's the second. This is Xbox Era, which is an independent article, outlet that's looking at the sales. Like, you can go, I believe you can go to, like, let's see. If we go to Game Pass, recently added, most popular, play the biggest games. Let's see, more. Day one release. Where is the... You guys know where... Let me bring this up. You guys know where the chart is up here? Like, here is... Where is it? Most popular. Play the biggest games with Game Pass. Is this the chart they're going off of? Because it's not here. Right now, FIFA, Madden, and Battlefield 2042 are the most popular, but I don't know if that's the chart they're looking at. Yeah, I don't know what they're looking at. Let's see. Top paid games. Let's see. Survivor, Dead Island, Hogwarts. Call of Duty, Dead Island. Dead Island must be doing really good. Yeah, I'm not sure where they're getting that number from. How old is the article? The article is from May 9th, which was today. Company says, I also like how Redfall ranks 14th on Steam top 100 worst games of all time chart, but engagement. Am I right? Exactly. Right? I heard around the 29th, KFC and Blizzard will be teaming up again to offer game items like skins and stuff you can purchase the chicken sandwich, so be on the lookout for that. Why ain't doing that again? My fingers were so swollen from the salt intake that I had to do. It was ridiculous. I wonder what achievements look like for top 5 10 games. Well, let's see. If I go, do you want like a Game Pass, like a Game Pass game? All right, let me bring this back up. Let's go with a game I know, Battlefields, because I don't know what you have to do in FIFA. So let's go with Battlefield 2042, right? So let's go with the game card. Go to the achievements, and let's see a pretty easy achievement, right? Kill 50 enemies with a vehicle. 15%. Now, we don't know the number of people playing this game on Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? 142 rounds, resupply 50 teammates. I mean, that can I just say that number's horrific? Horrific. That should be easy. You could get 50 teammates in like 2 games. You could do it in 1 game if you really did it. Okay. Capture 100 objectives in conquest mode. That's insane myself. Like 7%. 7%. We started playing, like, think about this. We started playing this when it came out on Game Pass in December. And I hit it on 12.5. Okay? Like, that's super easy to get. Kill 500 enemies is only 16%. Do you know what I mean? Like, here, reach player level 25. Okay, so I started playing, I guess, the end of November, right? 11/27/22. It's pretty close. Like, when was our first achievement? Oh, our first achievement was in November 12th, it looks like. That's our first achievement. So I played, reached player level 15. Only 26% people went to level 15. Travel 25 kilometers. Reach player level 5. Less than 50% of the people playing on Game Pass have made it to level 5. Like, I'm stunned by these numbers. Right? I'm stunned by these numbers. You guys know how long I play. I play for like 2 hours a night. Right? We started on the 12th, and I made it to level 5 on the 13th, which is probably from when I started playing past midnight, right? You want me to try Grounded? All right, let me look up... Grounded is a very popular game. Okay, let's see Grounded here. Let's go to an achievement that I have. That's a pretty one, right? Save Burgle at the Oak Tree Lab explosion, which is like really early on in the game. It all depends on how you play the game, but you could pretty much get that, right? Analyze 15 resources. That's a good one. 15 resources is super easy, like a blade of grass, a tree, a bug. 25% of the player population got 15% resources. Sure, but you got to take a basis of something, right? Papa? When someone tells me that the game is the most popular game on the platform, and then one of the simplistic achievements, okay, to get, like, you could do it by just not even trying to do it. Okay? Like, to play Grounded, right? To play Grounded, you have to scan stuff. Here, cook a bug on the roasting spit, right? You have to eat in the game. Only 23% of the population has cooked something on the fire. So you're telling me, let's just say 2 million people were playing this game. 500,000 people are the only people cooking in this game? That's what I'm saying, boss. Right? Well, you don't have to try achievements. I'm looking at achievements that you can get by just playing the game. Look, discover 20 sites on the map. It's crazy to me. Here, I'll look at an achievement that I don't even have. Lounge in a chair, tame a bug. Those are like new ones. Upgrade to tier 3, craft tier 3. Those are higher tier things. Yeah, these are all higher tier things. What's going on, Mo? Right? I don't know, man. When you tell me that there's so many people playing Marvel's Avengers, right? We looked at the Marvel's Avengers thing, right? You're like, so many people are playing Marvel's Avengers, and then you look at get one character to level 50, and it's below 3%, and you're like, there can't be that many people playing the game. Like, you could fall asleep and get to a max level character. Maybe those achievements are too tedious for so people don't bother. Chief, to cook food. Not cook 50 things. To use the food on the cooking. To cook food that you have to eat. Right? You have to learn, like, it's part of the game to learn to make a fire pit. You're going to have to get food to eat. Like you can't tell me that, yeah, they're playing the game, but they're not playing the game that long. 5 million people. Here. You know what? Let's look up Fallout 76. Let's look up Fallout 76. Hold on. Right? Now, boss, me and you looked up the numbers the other day, and we looked at that site. Right? Now, obviously, this is just Xbox numbers. Right? This is just Xbox numbers. Let me find one. Okay. Find the Overseer, which is a pretty, if you're playing the game and you just go through the game, you would find it 14%. Okay. Possess 10,000 caps, which is really not that hard. Okay. Which is really not that hard. 9% have 10,000 caps. Let's see what else we got. Reach level 50, right? So many people playing the game. To reach max level, less than 10% on Xbox have gotten it. All right. Collect 10 bobbleheads, which is something you don't actually like go out and find. It's just exploring and seeing it and then collecting it at less than 10%. Reach level 25, 15%. Right? Exactly, boss. Right? 10 million people playing this game across all systems. Okay, now obviously there's not 10 million people playing it on Xbox, right? What was the number? 600,000 people monthly, right? 600,000 people play it monthly. And yet 15% haven't made it to level 25. Mo says millions try. But are people even playing the game, Mo? Reach level 10. 27%. Reach level 10. Think about this, boss, right? People that made it to level 10, the 27%, only 22% made it to 300 creatures. Craft a weapon. This should be 99%. Craft a weapon. Gather 200 pieces of junk. But Mo, you saying I tried Fallout 76 and got to level 1. How many people, right? Because you skew that number, right? Because you didn't do anything. You count as a percent, but yet you didn't do any of it, right? Here. Like it's just amazing to me. No, this particular one, Leave Vault 76. I don't know why I don't have it. It's an actual quest in the game. You know what I mean? It's an actual quest. It's not just leaving. Unless you're making a joke, like 90% of people that left playing Fallout 76. They also gave Fallout 76 away for free. Right, Quintar, but it's not counting the people that never downloaded the game or activate it, right? It's not counting the people if you downloaded the game, it's counting you in that percentage. It's only counting the people that are percenting of that log in and actually play the game. Right? That's the data. That's how they keep track of it. Let's go on with shenanigans. Buck says, now I'm going to spend my free time downloading games, play 5 minutes, and then delete them. What's the number one? I don't know what that game is on Game Pass. I don't know where they go to look at. If I go to the number one on this, the most popular games is FIFA. Right? Let me go to FIFA. Let me see what the achievement. Right? I've never played it. Right? I've never played it. But let's look at FIFA. What's something that would be like that everyone should get? Play a game using horse rules, keep 10 clean sheets, 200 club appearances, win a co-op in public match. Apparently, a lot of people are not playing this. I have no idea. Reach milestone 1, play a game in Division 4. Unlock, successfully convert a player, achieve top manager, complete a total of 30 objectives across all matches, play a season, creative club, reach level 25. I don't know how long it takes to get your players up. I would assume that this one right here reached, like, how many hours you got to put in to get to level 25? And if this is the most popular game, only 3% have reached to level 25. Halo would be an easy one. Nope, that's not where I wanted to go. Not where I wanted to go. Okay. Now, is this showing single player or multiplayer as well? Tried out a new weapon customized item. I played the game like one day. One day I played it. And I got this achievement. Which I'm part of the 20%. Okay. Yeah, Water, we did. Yeah. That was the whole conversation in the beginning. Okay, let's see. Gain access to loot cave in match-made game. Killed an enemy with melee using blade weapon in a match-made game. Only 20% of the people killed somebody with a blade. Okay, here's a good one. Complete one level in a battle pass. That number speaks volumes. One level in a battle pass, 35% of gamers unlock this. What are we talking about here? One level. One level. You can do that by just putting the controller down and ending the match. One level in the battle pass, 35%. So when you look at these numbers, and they say it's the most popular game, but they don't tell you what that number is. Right? If you play the game, you complete the first area of any game. Exactly, boss. So when someone tells you that it's the like when you look at this, right? When you look at this thing right here, right? And it says the most popular games played the biggest with Game Pass, right? These are the most popular games. And then you look at some of these achievements, you're like, I don't get it. How can you be the most popular game and yet one level of a battle pass is literally nothing? Now, it's just crazy. Battle pass was for free versions as well. Look for single player achievements. All right. You think that's the problem? Like, free players, I don't understand though. Like, that's an easy all right, what's the single player achievement? Let me see here. I didn't play the single player campaign, so all right, let's look at the secret achievement. There you go. Complete the main campaign. 10%. Less than 10%. Well, most Game Pass players are PC. 15 million people are on Game Pass PC. 10 million are on Xbox Game Pass. I don't know what these because I didn't play the game, so I don't know where the outpost is, right? I don't know where these outposts are, how far in the game they are. Unlock all Spartan access your first Spartan audio log. Where is that in the game? Right? Where is that in the game? Now we know 2 million people bought Halo, right? We know 2 million people. The last time they told us 2 million people bought Halo. So if they bought Halo, that means they probably played the campaign. So if we just go off the 2 million, 25% got the first audio log. I think so too. I think this is PC and console, but I don't know. You find it in the ground, you have to look for it. Oh, God forbid. All right, complete all 14 main missions in under 8 hours. Is that full running time, or is that kill grunt that's been thrown by the brute? Check out the best possible view. Successful grapple shots 50 times. I mean, these things seem like you would just do them while you're playing through the game. I mean, look at the that's pretty telling. 2% completed a battle pass. 2% completed a battle pass. Complete the tutorial. Please tell me that's optional. Please tell me that's optional. You just look at some of these. Some of these are probably hard to do. I don't know, because I didn't play. Right, but some of the simple ones, just like, all right, let's lead from this and go to the next thing, which is, I want to talk about. Should we talk about No Man's Sky, or should we talk about the state of Xbox Studios? Which one do you guys want to talk about? They're both Reddit posts, right? They're both Reddit posts, so we'll take it with a grain of salt, right? I haven't read through the whole entire Reddit post. I saw the Reddit post, and I was like, this seems like interesting stuff to bring up and talk about. Boss, it's hard. It's hard to quantify, right? And I play on Xbox, right? I play on Xbox. But when someone comes out and says that it's the second most popular game, and you're like, oh, cool, so that means a lot of people played it. And then you look at a stat in Redfall where completing the first map, okay, is less than like 3%. And you're like, what the hell? Right? Second most popular game. Been out for a week. Obviously, most people, and this is the whole thing is casuals. And it's not a bad term saying casuals, but that is what Microsoft wants. If a person comes in, okay, like Mo is an outlier, right? Right? Big Mad Mo is an outlier because he plays the games and puts a lot of more time in than most people, right? And he gets his money's worth out of Game Pass. But how many people play Game Pass or pay for Game Pass and don't get their money's worth, but they still get Game Pass because they try it for a week. They play it very casual. They're playing 2 hours a week, not 2 hours a day. They're playing 2 to 6 hours a week, not a day. Okay? So we come back from a month from now or 3 months from now and check the stats, they might be higher. Okay? So people like myself that have Game Pass, I get my money's worth, way, way over my money's worth, especially since my son plays and myself plays, right? So I'm the outlier of people getting their money's worth for Game Pass, right? I have the stats of where I get level 5 and 10 and stuff like that. Right? This guy, are you saying that you get your money's worth, Buck, or you don't get your money's worth? Or are you saying you're you're super casual with it? Right? And that is what I'm saying, right? 25 million people, there's probably 1% of the 25 million people that are like me and Mo, where we play and get our money's worth, right? Super casual, right? And that is the clientele that Xbox is going for, right? Right? Wait. So they look at it and go, all right, well, we have 25 million people now paying $10 a month. And this is now going into the next conversation. Let's talk about No Man's Sky. Okay, we talk about No Man's Sky all the time. I'm like, how is No Man's Sky making so much money? Now, we don't know numbers. We don't know official numbers of No Man's Sky 6 years ago when they came out. Okay? So explain to me super casual. You turn the game on. By the time you load into the actual game, it's time to get off. Yeah, so boss, okay, before I go into No Man's Sky, I have my best friend. He works, I think, like 60-hour weeks. He works at a restaurant and whatnot. He's got 2 kids, so when he comes home, he plays from the hours, like he comes home, he plays from the hours of like 11 o'clock at night to maybe 12:30, 1 o'clock, maybe 2 hours, and that's not every night. That's the night before his day off, okay? That's the night before his day off. I think he has like 2 days. Like he does it Sunday and like Wednesday. Right? And he loves Destiny. Okay. A season of Destiny for him takes him literally forever. Like he gets so much worth out of it. And that's why his views on Destiny, he absolutely loves it because he doesn't get what I see because he takes so long to get there. And by the time he gets there, he's just like, yeah, I had fun playing it. That's him. He's the normal. He's the norm. Most people don't have the time to play the games. Right? They get home, they start playing games, and they start dozing off because they're exhausted. Right? They're exhausted. That is 95% of the people that play video games. They play super, super casual. The people that you see here in chat, for the most part, are people that play 6 to 8 hours, right? I would say 15 to 20 hours a week. Okay? Which is the astronomical number of people, right? No, I didn't do that, Mo. I haven't gone back to since we finished the World Series. Get power. Oh, hold on one second. Hold on one second. Sorry about that, guys. I have a project going on. We just built I just built a duck pen, and we're trying to get a water line from where the cows are to where I built the duck pen, and I had to talk to the grounds guy, see if we could tap into it and whatnot. Sorry about that. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Let's see. Where are you guys talking here? Everybody going through the brutal regime right now. I'm really considering taking a sale. Oh, boss is talking about his. All right, there you go. This guy, I remember seeing Buck saying that. 50 plus, couldn't imagine 60 plus. What could you which one on stream, Mo? Which one are you talking about? The baseball one? I don't know if the Diablo 4, I think a lot of people, Mo, for Diablo, I think people are going to drop. It's going to be like a Game Pass game. People are going to play it, and they're going to drop off a cliff because it's going to take too long for them to do it. Yeah, I feel you, boss. I used to work in jobs like that where I was management, and a lot of people depended on me and stuff like that. And then I went into the film industry, and that was less stressful, different stress. You're always going to have stress. Just hopefully you can find a gig or a job that better suits you if you're over it. You know what I mean? Hella millions in the beta? Hella millions for what, Mo? Water says, I think for 2 weeks, Diablo 4 will be the most streamed game ever. I don't know about the most streamed game ever. It'll be up there. The problem is it takes too long to get to level 100, right? Most people are going to complete that story, Water, and they're gonna have like Destiny numbers. Lots of people are going to buy the game, but lots of people won't finish the game, if that makes sense, right? I would say about 60% of the people will finish the story, and then it'll drop off a cliff. Drop off a cliff. Oh, talking about Diablo 4. All right. So let me talk about No Man's Sky, right? So No Man's Sky, this post, it says, supporting No Man's Sky has made indie studio Hello Games worth well above $100 million US. Okay? So we always talked about No Man's Sky. How did they make all their money? How do they keep making free content all this way up to this point? And the business model for what they're doing is basically what all smaller companies should do. This is what you should do, right? This is the old school type of way where basically, yes, this is a live service game, but it's not a live service game where they're getting microtransactions. It's like old school game released, and then you play it and then you kind of finish it. But this is like a new hybrid where you buy the game, and for 6 years they've been supporting it. And it's a much better game now than it was in the past. Now, we wanted to know how much money they made when it was just on PlayStation, right? It was just a PlayStation PC type of game. It says No Man's Sky is one of the top one-time purchase since it launched. And this article came out 2 years ago. This blog came out 2 years ago. So at the time of this, it was 5 years ago. Now it's, I think, 7. Okay. It says, how can Hello Games continue to update the game without charging a single dollar? It's, is it sustainable? And I've been wondering about this a lot. I did my digging, and there's some things that I was able to find. Okay. So it says, at launch, according to Subdata, article of No Man's Sky made 78 million US from digital sales during the first month. That was digital sales. Not physical copy sales. Okay. No Man's Sky also had physical retail launch, and my guess is during a launch year, it generated around 100 to 130 million US dollars revenue, not profit. Okay. Then it says now, hard facts, looking at Hello Games, No Man's Sky developer financials, just before January of 2018, 1.5 years after launch, they had roughly 82 million US cash left, out of which half, 41 million, was taken on the company for something to go buy office space, long-term investment, cash payment to founders. I don't know, he says. So January of 2018, and Hello Games company had 41 million US dollars in cash. In late summer of 2018 came the first big next update, which generated roughly $35 million sales by October of 2018. In the summer of 2019 came Beyond Update, which generated 25 million USD. Okay. As of October 31st of 2019, 3 years after launch, the last publicly available financials, they have around 100 million US dollars cash left. They have a burn rate of $6.2 million a year. Now, this means without additional money, they can keep updating No Man's Sky for 16 to 17 years based on the amount of money they've made from No Man's Sky after they release every single time that they do an update. Okay? So, the 6.2 million US a year, okay, is all it takes for the people that they have based roughly on what they cost to run the company with the amount of people they have at the company. Okay, so let me look up real fast how many employees Hello Games has. 26 employees. Okay, 26 employees. So let's look at 26 employees. If what they say 6.2? 6.2 million divided by 26. That's averaging about $238,000 per person, which is probably not the case for each developer. But at the same time, it's probably with insurance and everything else. Let's just say that's what they did. Last year I had a season pass, so I didn't play Game Pass games at all. I figured evens out in the end at the end of the day. So 6.2 million. They could run for 16 to 17 years, still making content as they do right now, and they would obviously make more money. Right? That's if they made no money. No more money from them. No Man's Sky is anywhere between $40 and $60 title right now if you go buy it. They never like vary from that, right? Every time they have an update, more people that have never played the game before come in and buy it for the first time. He says, not that they should update No Man's Sky that long. They have already gone above and beyond what they are expected, which me and Sarge have always talked about. 2020 in the future, No Man's Sky surely made significant money in 2020 with the Origins update. How much would you be known around October this year when the next filing will be made public? They also released the last campfire game, but revenue from the small game would hardly be $1 million or $2 million. No Man's Sky has been part of the Xbox Game Pass since 2020, so Microsoft should also be paying some money as well. Now, we don't know how much money they pay Hello Games to have No Man's Sky, whatever that deal was. We do know that they paid, I think it was like $3.5 million to Arc to be exclusive or to have it day and date when it comes out, or what they paid for I think it was like a 3-year thing. So we don't know what they're paying No Man's Sky. So, but profitable nonetheless, meaning that their current net worth should be well above 100 million cash, 107 million net worth, and 2019. My guess is the current net worth would be around 125 million US. Now, again, take this with a grain of salt. This is his own research and what they're doing. No Man's Sky has been a unique case. The indie game has generated AAA level revenue, and my guess is close to 180 to 200 million US revenue in its lifetime, with roughly 10 million copies sold. 5.4 million on PlayStation, 4.4 million on Steam, and 2.4 million on Xbox. Source, Play Tracker. Okay. I would argue that the AAA game studio, which is much higher burn rate, would also have been able to break even with sales of the revenue of the No Man's Sky for 5 years post-launch support. But of course, breaking even is never enough for a publicly traded parent company of AAA devs. So for indie teams like Hello Games, this is a very rare, more than enough sustainable for decades. Now, at the time of this, Sean, who owes 50% equity and $60 million US, and the other founder members that packed up and they could buy an island, he says, and retire, they decided to stay and to make No Man's Sky better so far as it's also paid for financially. Shauna's other interviewers said that Hello Games are now also developing something new and as ambitious, if not more, as No Man's Sky. And my great way wishes for amazing, hardworking, inspired folks at Hello Games. So, how is this possible? How do they keep financing the game? Now, I think his numbers are off, right? He says that they made 78 million US in digital sales. Okay. Now, 78 million in digital sales seems small because this game was booming when it came out. There was so much hype around this. What was it, a $60 game when it came out, or was it a $40 game? I think it was 60. So they sold 1.3 million copies. I think that's low. I think that's half of what they sold. I think they sold around 3 to 5 million copies when the game first launched. Go on, Travis. Weird West got a current gen update. It's a free update, 4K, 60 frames for free. Remind me, what was Redfall's excuse? Well, to be honest, though, Weird West didn't come out with that, right? So you can't actually use that against them, because if Redfall came out at 30 frames and not 4K at 60 frames, then they would also have time. Weird West, how long did it take, and how long did it before it converted over to 4K? You see what I'm saying? That's a bad example, Travis. If Weird West just came out and it wasn't out before, then they would make a good point. But because it was already out and they updated it, then it's moot point. You're just saying that Redfall has time to update. All right, so No Man's Sky, right? Constantly updates, constantly giving the, and they don't ever charge anything. All they charge is the actual full price of the game, and you get all the new stuff along with it. So if you were an early adopter, and I have to look it up. When it launched, was No Man's Sky? I don't remember paying full $60. Let's see. No Man's Sky price at launch. No, it was. It was $60. It was $60. Came out 2016, June 21st. Fair enough. Although it's only 60 on PlayStation 5, not the PlayStation 4. Maybe the Series S is why Redfall could only do 30. Right, but the argument for Redfall, Travis, not running 60 is not because of the S. What we're saying is if it was going to run 60 frames per second at launch, it should have ran 60 frames per second at launch on the X, not the S, right? To say that the S is holding back the X, the company didn't put the 60 frames. They didn't have enough time to put it on for the X. You see what I'm saying? And people that are playing it on the PC say it's like a completely different game. You know, playing it on PC than playing it on console, right? I don't think people on the S want it to run at 60 frames per second. That's not what people are saying. Obviously, they're dumbing it down and saying, well, okay, it's going to run 30 frames per second on the S and the X, but the people that bought the X are expecting higher frame rates, and they're not getting those on those games. That's weird that they didn't show the physical, the numbers, instead of showing that they just showed the digital numbers. You're talking about No Man's Sky, Jesse? And I think that's the way a lot of people do, though. Remember all the crap. Now, Sean Murray could have just ran off. He made so much money off of No Man's Sky from just the PlayStation and PC when it first launched in 2016 that he didn't need to do what he's did. But he saved, I think, not only did he save face on himself, and people can call him, at the time, a liar or whatnot, what he promised No Man's Sky would be at launch. We don't know the inner workings and what happened behind the scenes between him and Sony. Sony did fuck up Hello Games with No Man's Sky. They pushed him out sooner than they wanted to. That's proven. Okay? Once it came out for all other platforms, and he started putting their faces, nose to the grindstone and get those games out and fixed and finished, and they kept putting update after update after update after update, they went quiet. That's what most companies should do. The way Sean Murray did it, came out, he got shit on all over the place for what happened with No Man's Sky. And they went dark. They went dark and didn't say a goddamn thing, and then all of a sudden an update came out. They let the work do the talking. They didn't talk. They let the work show what they were doing. They're like, oh, wow, you could do all this? Fantastic. Then they came out with another update. Then they came out with another update. Then they came out with another update. 8 years later, I think there's like 16 updates that they've done, like major updates, constantly always coming out with a No Man's Sky update. And they've won I think, not only did they win more fans back, but they kept their community going because they showed the work, and it makes money all the time. So like right now, obviously my son's played No Man's Sky, but if he was a new person, was like, oh, what's this No Man's Sky? I personally think when Starfield comes out, No Man's Sky's numbers will rise because they will look at it and go, well, I don't really like Starfield because Starfield will be broken, buggy, and then No Man's Sky will come swooping in and be like, hey, look at us. We've been here for 8 years, and our game is really smooth. Now, obviously, it's completely two different games. One's an RPG, one is not an RPG, right? But the quality of the game is going to be a much better quality on No Man's Sky. If I want to go search 1,000 planets and do all the stuff, better hope that Starfield has their shit together, because if they don't, No Man's Sky is going to come in and swoop. I guarantee you No Man's Sky's numbers will rise up, okay, once Starfield comes out. Travis says, at this point, the Series X is the only thing that should be making games for. No, but that's... As a gamer, you're saying that, even though you're not even an Xbox person, but you're saying that they should only do that. That's not their MO. Their MO is making games for everybody, no matter where you are, okay? So if you're a gamer, and you know the business model of Microsoft right now, okay? You know that they're making games. The S is there. It's not a secret, right? The S is there. If you're a casual, most casuals don't care, right? They're going to buy the S. They're going to buy the X. They don't care. They're going to play the game, and they're going to have fun with it. For the people that are looking for the best experience possible, okay, and you already bought an X, you're stuck. You either sell it and move on, okay, or you keep it and you're still within the ecosystem of it, okay? But you already know that Xbox is trying to make games for everyone across multiple platforms, multiple screens. If it's PC, if it's Xbox Series X, if it's the S, if it's on xCloud, whatever, they're trying to get it across the board. There's no secret there. All these years going by, everyone's like, well, they're not making games for the X. They're not trying to make games for the X. They're trying to make games for as many people across as many systems or as many screens as possible. Phil Spencer's been saying that for years, right? So to be a shocker is saying that the S is holding stuff back. We knew that from the start. You could go back when they announced the S. I said, no matter what they do, the S is the lowest tier, the lowest common denominator, right? Just like for PCs, they got to make it for the 4090, but they also got to make it for the 960. That 960 is holding the 490 back as well, right? It's the same type of thing. The S bottlenecks the X. I think cloud gaming bottlenecks the S and the X. Does it not? At this point, the Series X already read that. No Man's Sky has stood the test of time, no thanks to Sony. Younger generations will come in age, and No Man's Sky will be a buy. It's because such an expansive game. Right. So what would you introduce your kid to, Akuta Papa, right? If there's a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old, are you going to introduce them to Starfield? Starfield's going to be more of an adult game, right? Where No Man's Sky is kid-friendly. It is. It's just kid-friendly, minus the penis dinosaurs that they had when the CG generated them when they first started out, right? For the most part, No Man's Sky is set... No Man's Sky is the Nintendo to Starfield, right? More inclusive, more widespread, more people of age brackets can pick up No Man's Sky, where Starfield's going to be that niche market of RPG, more adult, more in-depth type of stuff, right? So No Man's Sky is going to keep selling. Going to keep selling. It's not a shocker. It just proves me that Xbox is an inferior system. It's an inferior system as far as old school console, sure. But what they're trying to do as a company is not inferior. 30 players wants to compare No Man's Sky to Starfield when it comes out. Of course they are. Why wouldn't you, though, right? Space game. They should not only compare it to No Man's Sky, they should Star Citizen, right? They should compare it to any other open world, multi-planet traveling system game that's out there. It's been out there for years. Starfield has been out, or I'm sorry, Star Citizen's been out for over 10 years. No Man's Sky's been out for 8 years. No Man's Sky got compared to Star Citizen when it came out. Something I don't get is how you can do a development for PC and have both 960 and 1490 look good. Why is it so hard to do it on consoles? I think, well 960 and the 1490, they struggle, right? It struggles on the older graphics cards, and that's just what it is. So when they're making it, it's going to struggle for it. They got to make it for the lowest common denominator, and they're taking time out of their day to make sure the port works for those systems, so it hits. That's why certain people have more problems on higher end graphics cards, because they weren't developing for the highest graphics card. They were developing for the lowest graphics cards. So when they're like, oh, it'll work on the higher graphics cards, but there's like these bugs and glitches that they didn't try to do. You know what I mean? It's about 16 to 17. I'll start allowing more mature games. Minecraft, Star Wars, No Man's Sky. There are so many good games for younger people, right? Except when it fails and it doesn't catch on, and we'll say it was forward thinking. I honestly, I don't think what Microsoft is doing is going to fail. Hence why they're pushing so hard, because they will be the leader of that industry, right? And you'll look back on this and going, oh wow, it worked out for them, because it is going to work out for them. It's not if it's going to work out, or it's when it's going to work out. It's going to work out for them. The technology that we have and what we're used to, we're not there yet. Most people can't be forward thinking. They don't see it. They think it's a flop, it's going to fail, and they're okay eating what they're eating now, because in the long run, they're going to win. Well, in recent Digital Foundry videos said that the PC is starting to become a problem for the industry due to the whole range of configurations. I don't even work for Digital Foundry, and I already knew that was going to be a problem. Of course. Of course. You can't have all of these. Look, a PC is a PC, but there's dozens and dozens of graphics cards. Each of those graphics cards is their own console, right? Is his own console. So when you're making a game for just PC, you got to make it for a bunch of ranges of graphics cards so people can enjoy it, right? Hence why a lot of developers like working with just one system. This is why Sony is so popular with developers, because all they have to do is work with the parameters of the one system. With Xbox, they got to work with 3 systems, right? They got to work with PC, which is multiple systems in all. They got to work with the X, and they have to work with the S. So minimal. You work with PlayStation, you're working with one system. You work with Xbox, you're working with 10 systems. I'm only to eat any good meal problem if Xbox is trying to pass off chicken pot pie as fried chicken. Chicken pot pie is gross, fried chicken, yum. Papa says, Krebsy, that was always been the problem. One of the biggest issues in the industry right now, AMD and their shitty hardware coding. Exactly. Right? You are making me hungry, Travis. Right? That's the problem. Going back to No Man's Sky, right? Why don't more companies do what they're doing? Right? You look at Hello Games, and yeah, they're only 26 employees. Okay? But why are they trying to, right? They're not trying to nickel and dime you because they're greedy, hungry horde of people. They made a boatload of money in the beginning, okay? And they're constantly updating and building this community up. And when they come out with their next game, like they did with Campfire, didn't do very, big, but it made money because they had a following. They continue to support their games. They continue to support No Man's Sky. And they make all the money they need to make. Okay. Now, obviously, if they hire another 40, 50 people, right? They're still charging $50 and they would have more people, more salary. Maybe it goes up to 10 million, 20 million. And instead of having 16 years of content that they could have, right? Now it's down to 8 more years of content they can make because they've doubled the size of their studio. Okay. There are ways to make money. Make a game, sell a game. In this situation, No Man's Sky sold an unfinished, brokey, buggy game. And over the past 8 years, is it 8 years? 8 years. Okay. Or 7 years, right? They've fixed it. And now they selling a game that's a complete game with so much to do and so much time and so many different features and different things in the game. It's a completely different game. No Man's Sky now is not the same No Man's Sky it was when it came out at launch in 2016, right? I think that more companies, more independent companies, more developers, even bigwig, AAA studios should look at the way that they're supporting their game, right? Make a game, sell a game. And if you sold a broken, buggy game, then work that game towards it and don't sell any DLC. Put all the efforts in and just sell your regular game for full price. See, video games can make money over and over again. It doesn't matter if they sell 10 million copies in the first weekend or if they sell 10 million copies in the first 5 years. They're still selling 10 million copies, right? That's a lot of freaking money. No Man's Sky wasn't AAA, was it? No, they weren't, boss. And that's what I'm saying. They're a small independent company. I already said that. I said, and more other companies can do that. And if No Man's Sky or Hello Games wanted to expand their business, they could, and yet still expand it and make enough money where they can make more games, cover their costs. And then you look at a thing like you look at a place like Game Pass, how they're making $250 million a month. $3 billion a year right now, okay? And they can toss money to a company that can float them for the next 4 to 5 years to make their game. You see what I'm saying? No Man's Sky made so much money up front, they can literally make the game and update the game for the next decade without receiving any more money. But obviously, they're getting more money because they make money from Microsoft for being on Game Pass. They make other sales every time they come out with an update. They don't need to constantly sell you microtransactions to tell you they need to keep their lights on. Let me see what you guys are saying here. 30, everybody eat my meal. Already got that. It's deeper than what I said. I would need to find a video that explains it. Tell you why. Integrity. Jesse Mack says, question: what if Microsoft didn't brought Nintendo, and then Nintendo would be in the future? Nintendo also would have to make good choices, and then also Microsoft is doing right now. I don't know what that means though, Jesse. Hello Games is a major passion for No Man's Sky as well. Oh yeah, well, that was Sean Murray and the 14 people at the time that were making the game. And that's another thing. They doubled in size from when they first launched No Man's Sky to what they are now. And they're still eating very comfortably. And they bought a $42 million studio. Some hardware is not 100% compatible with each other. You can also have 3 different brands of RAM. Find out the incompatible with your board, and another gives 200% preferred over others. Boss says it's kind of understandable when a non-AAA do it, especially if it's an indie. Yeah, but at this point, I think No Man's Sky, because I think when we looked it up, the definition of a AAA title, it was like $79 million. $75 million is a AAA studio title. So it wasn't a AAA studio, but they made a game that made AAA studio numbers. People also need to learn about the bottlenecking in some games. I'm still a CPU bottleneck because of what the game is. Travis says, it's someone who heard nothing but bad about No Man's Sky. I avoided it for a long time. Now I'm like, it's great. Of course, yeah. Yeah, like Bungie, right? Microtransactions don't keep the lights on anyways. They only true to the mobile games. Yeah, no, they gotta keep the lights on. You gotta keep the lights on. If a company, let me tell you something. If you took $1 million to make a video game, and that game sold for $60, okay, or let's say even $30, right? At $30, it took $1 million to make your game. Oh, hold on one second. It took $1 million to make your game. So you got $1 million, and you sold. Let's see. You sold 250,000 times 30, right? 250,000 times 30 is $7.5 million. Okay. Now, if you had that $7.5 million, let's say you had 4 people, 5 people making that game. Budget was $1 million, independent game. It went out and sold 250,000 copies. You made $7.5 million. If you take that $7 million and now scale your business, you can double, maybe triple the amount of people that you had in your business for the next couple of years. You can make the next game, right? This is how businesses work, right? Yet, same company now takes that game and charges, it costs them $1 million, and then they charge $60. Okay, they made 250,000, and then they charge microtransactions on top of it, and then tell you that the microtransactions are paying for the next content going forward. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. They're making tenfold. This is a $1 billion industry. This is why people that are not gamers are getting into the business, making companies, trying to put out a game as fast as possible. This goes back to our conversation of the day before and Unreal Engine, how people are just going to make a game, make it look pretty, no substance there, and then continue on and get money out of people because there's a sucker born every second. And people are going to go, oh, that's so pretty. They're going to go buy the day before. They're going to spend a microtransaction on the day before and whatever else, however that, and they're going to make their money back tenfold, right? And that is the issue. That's one of the issues with the industry. People that are not gamers, not business people, all can make the stuff and make it look great and pretty and try to get the money out of you. And they're not going to be a No Man's Sky. They're going to be frauds. They're going to get your money. They're going to steal your money because there's no protection policies whatsoever. Happens all the time. All of the independent games that no one talks about, there's tons and tons of games that go on Steam that are shitty, broken games that get people's money and they just run with it, right? Then there's games that are straight up right in front of you. You might like Star Citizen, but Star Citizen has never been a complete game. It's still in beta. It's not in full launch, and yet it's made $500 million, $600 million worth, right? Actually, more than that, right? It's ridiculous on how much money it's raised. Unreal Engine is a sham now. Hurts gaming. Well, we have another story that I wasn't going to talk about today. We're going to bring it up on the GXG, but there's literally programs that you can just do. ChatGPT can make these environments and stuff, right? These procedurally generated stuff, and it automatically does the code. Right now, it looks like crap, but this is the first iteration of it, right? This is the first iteration. What I mean is, what if Nintendo says no to Microsoft's deal with them? Then Nintendo will be able to grow their games and movies. But Microsoft has been trying to make best products for Xbox. Well, shit. I don't think if you're asking if Microsoft's going to buy Nintendo, that'll never happen. Nintendo runs on their own. Like, everyone goes right, they go left. They're their own entity, man. They do their own thing. They don't care. They have a clientele, and they're never going to lose that clientele. They're going to be successful regardless if everything goes to the cloud. They've already made the changes, right? You can play all the old games on the Nintendo service that they charge $50 a year for. Nintendo's fine. Come on, Mr. Luke. How you been, man? I think it's funny that some think Sony isn't ready for the cloud era, but then Mark Cerny, lead hardware software guy at Sony, patents new tech that makes it better than the PlayStation 5 for latency. They're still gonna have to. They're still gonna have to go through other people to use the cloud, right? They're gonna either have to rent servers or buy servers, which I don't think they're gonna allow to buy. I don't think Sony's gonna do the infrastructure to make their own servers. I don't. Yeah, Nintendo doesn't need anything else. I'm telling you, they're their console from birth to death. Think of Nintendo as like my first speak and spell. What's the new Tom Clancy game? I didn't see the trailer. I haven't seen the trailer. All right, going from No Man's Sky and what they're doing. Here's another post. This is the state. This is from a blog post. This has nothing to do with me. It's not because I play on Xbox. I'm not an Xbox fanboy. I'm not a Sony fanboy. I'm literally just reading from a blog post from 16 hours ago from Crusader. He says, the state of Xbox Game Studios and Bethesda Softworks, a breakdown of all the confirmed projects, leaks, and rumors for future Microsoft game division. We're gonna go through this and read this to you guys. Oh, Heartlands. Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It's a free-to-play game. I'm a little worried about it because it's going to be PvP dominated. It's basically the DZ, but they made it into its own separate game. All right, so about a year ago, I made a post, he says, that summarizes the current announced projects, leaks, and rumors of Xbox Game Studios, ZeniMax, Activision, and Blizzard. And here's the updated mega thread, just in time for Xbox Bethesda Showcase. With the uncertainty of the Activision Blizzard King deal, I'm electing to not cover any of the content here at this time. Normally, I would wait a little longer until much closer to the showcase to grab any leak or rumors, but somehow decided to copy my last one, minimal changes, so I'm posting it as it's running my notes early. So Xbox Studios, this is what they have. This is what they have in the works. Rumors, leaks, everything that Microsoft is working on, potentially what we could see or hear at the showcase, all right? So 343 Industries is currently working on a post-launch content for Halo Infinite. A small team is working consistently updates to Halo Master Chief Collection, such as modding tools. According to the Windows Central Jez Gordon, there's also a new Halo project distinct from Halo Infinite in development. 343i also filed a trademark for Halo the Endless. Certain Infinity is also working on something new in Halo Infinite, or possibly now separate. That might be a battle royale, according to Jez Gordon, is a codename Project Tatanka. It's also been rumored that the cross between Halo 5's Warzone Battle Royale with deep integration into Forge and the future of Halo, including Project Tatanka, is also rumored to be moving to Unreal Engine with no plans for additional single-player content. 2, the Coalition, currently working on mastering the Unreal Engine 5, according to press release. The press release states that working on multiple projects, one with being confirmed to be the next Gears of War, according to rumors heard by Jeff Grubb. He believes a small project of new IPs on smaller scales was in development, although it does not know what the IP could be. He heard rumors that the Star Wars IP, but was unable to confirm it, and Jeff believes that this is a small IP, was set to release in 2023, and the Gears Next After is supposedly canceled within the last year. Compulsion Games, they're working on a single-player third-person action-adventure game in mid-development, and the codename of the game is Project Midnight. And the dark fantasy title, according to Jez Gordon at Windows Central, they recently moved to the new office and are planning to over double their staff Project's Midnight is also rumored to appear in the next Xbox showcase. So there you go. So keep that as a pin in the board that we might see a game called Project Midnight, which is the code name of it. Okay. Double Fine. It's an unknown. It's unknown exactly what Tim Schafer will be doing next. There has been rumors of Banjo-Kazooie, but Tim shot them down in an interview with IGN, stating that Double Fine makes their own games. They have been working on the project with the new IP since 2018, and they also stated that the future of the new original IPs for Double Fine in 2022. Number 5, The Initiative. They're currently working on a reboot for Perfect Dark. Embracer Group, Studio Crystal Dynamics, is also helping the development of the title. Certain Infinity is also rumored by Jez Gordon to be helping the development on the game. Specifically, weapons and levels. Perfect Dark is still ways off, according to Andy Robinson. Excel Entertainment, the studio is also working on 2 projects. One is in full development, one is in pre-production, and one is in full production. The game is also in full production, is codenamed Project Cobalt. It's also said to be a first-person steampunk RPG by Jez Gordon. The next title is confirmed to be releasing in the Unreal Engine 5. There's also a rumor that as another title, in Excel is in works on the existing IP. 7, Mojang Studios, currently working on a Trails and Tales update for Minecraft release at some point in 2023. In 2020, Mojang had rebranded to 2020 and stated that they want to develop new games and experiences additions to Minecraft across multiple global offices, according to Jez Gordon. 2 brand new spin-off titles are coming from Mojang. One has since been announced as release as Minecraft Legends, also known as Project Badger, is in cooperation with Blackbird Interactive. Number 8 is Ninja Theory, currently working on the Hellblade 2 smaller scale project. Mara, will be a real world grounded representation of a true mental terror, and also be based heavily on research interviews and first-hand accounts of recreating horror of the mind accurately and believably as possible. In addition, Ninja Theory announced that it established the research and development efforts dealing with mental health, dubbed the Insight Project. The Insight Project builds upon continuous and cooperations between Ninja Theory and Paul Fletcher's University of Cambridge psychiatrist, professor of health of neuroscience, had also consulted with the studio of Hellblade, which features the announcement of 2023, also featured in Hellblade 2, the only title not announced in 2023. Within the added lead, may believe that it will also launch in 2023. Hopefully, they don't force it out. Reinforced by Phil Spencer, also name-dropping it in a recent interview with Kinda Funny Games. He also reported that Hellblade is one of the furthest along Xbox titles after Starfield and Forza Motorsports. Number 9, Obsidian Entertainment confirmed in development projects are Grounded ongoing title and Avowed, a first-person RPG set in the Pillars of Eternity world. Outer Worlds 2, according to Jez, Obsidian is targeting 7 games in 7 years. Avowed is one of the closest games to launch after Starfield and Forza Motorsports, according to Andy. Number 10, Playground Games just finished the development of Forza Horizon 5's DLC as the main office, working on the reboot of Fable. And their new office, Andy Robinson, also was reported that Fable is not close to being finished, just now entering full production. But we're not seeing that, like I said, probably to 2025. And even then, I'm a little skeptic of it. Rare, currently developing a new content for Sea of Thieves. They're also developing a new IP called Everwild. Thought not much of it is known about it other than cinematic shots. It's also been rebooted multiple times, according to Andy Robinson. Additionally, it's still in queue far off. According to Jeff Grubb, the development, even post-reboot, is still a mess. Number 12, Turn 10, currently developing the next-gen revision of the Forza Tech engine. It is also next iteration of Forza Motorsports line of games. Forza Motorsports is supposed to launch within the 2023. Number 13, Undead Labs, currently developing a State of Decay 3, opened new Orlando, Florida location to support State of Decay 3 and other Xbox Studio projects, which also confirmed State of Decay 3 is moving to Unreal Engine 5. I did not know they have a new office in Orlando. I might have to do some digging. Number 14, World's Edge. While the World's Edge does not develop games internally, they managed to external partners would also developing content of Age of series. They're currently directing and developing a content of Age of Empires 2, DE, Age of Empires 3 DE, and Age of Empires 4 console release and DLC. The Age of Mythology, retold Age of Empires 2 DE, Returns to Rome, is releasing on May 16th, porting content from Age of Empires DE and Age of Empires 2 DE. Age of Empires 4 is set to release on Xbox consoles in 2023. Xbox Global Publishing, these are games developed in external studios and published by Xbox. Confirmed global publishing projects. Contraband by Avalanche Studios, originally meant to launch in 2023. No information since the reveal in 2021. Era History Untold by Oxidized Interactive, originally leaked the project Indus by Jez Gordon. The game is 4-time strategy games similar to Civilization, supposed to release in 2023. Untitled cloud-driven game by Kojima Productions, announced on Xbox Bethesda in 2022 showcase. Rumored originally by Jeff Grubb, and they also signed a letter of intent for hire Kim Swift to help the cloud gaming production. Rumored global publishing projects. Project Shaolin, Grace Lion Entertainment, said to be an anime art style ARPG Wu-Tang Clan involved for music. Wandering Tower, Stoic Studios, originally leaked Project Belfry, said to be a side-scroller beat-em-up focused around Bell Tower with Princess of Monarchy art style. 3 Killer Instinct by Unknown, maybe Bandai Namco, rumored to be development at some capacity. Okay. Project Soretti by Certain Infinity, rumored by Jeff Grubb. Project Bonnie Gunt by Unknown. Nothing is known about this project, so we don't know about that. 1 vs. 100 revealed by Alt Space VR. Project Chinook by Unknown, leaked by Jez Gordon. Project Dragon by IO Interactive. And Project Pax Day by Mainframe. Bethesda Softworks is Alpha Dog game, currently mobile-oriented studio working on Mighty Doom for Android iOS. Arcane Studios' Arcane Lion is currently working on an unknown future title based on the interview with Jason Colt. The people from Deathloop Development Arcane Austin is currently working on fixing and releasing the launch of Redfall, formerly known as Project Omen. Bethesda Game Studios between the Rockville, Austin, Dallas, Montreal offices are also currently working on extending their content for Fallout 76. Starfield releases on September 6th of 2023 in the Creation Engine 2, and Elder Scrolls 6, the IP Spy Team, was also registered within the studio. ID Software currently maintaining development with ID Tech 7 engine and announced a future project with Doom, Quake, and or new IP. Machine Games currently working on Indiana Jones game for Lucasfilms Games. Roundhouse Games currently working on yet an announced game, Rumored Point PvEVP game with potential Marvel IP. Interesting. Okay, Roundhouse Games in the Unreal Engine 4, likely to move to Unreal Engine 5 due to the ease of upgrading Unreal Engine 5. No time frame for release. So potentially there's a rumored Marvel game that's going to be a PvEVP. Interesting. Tango Games recently released Hi-Fi Rush and Ghostwire Tokyo. It's possible that they're working on a untitled multiplayer game or untitled RPG game. And then ZeniMax Online Studios currently continuing support for Elder Scrolls Online Necrom based on job listings and whatnot. Other projects from unknown sources. There's a lot of stuff, man. A lot of stuff that Microsoft is working on. And yet here we are sitting and talking about none of it because none of it's to fruition. MCC, like a collection of another Xbox IP initially rumored. Currently speculated to be a Gears of War or Fable, as both franchises have been missing entries on PC. Project Velvet, unknown, nothing known about this project or the code name. Project Kalimba, also unknown, listed for GeForce Now leak. Shadowrun by unknown, rumored by Jeff Grubb. Cairo Blue, Kelly game by unknown leak. Kelly Blue. An NFL draft pick for Baltimore Ravens in the interview said they pitched the game to Xbox and was also greenlit about a SEAL Team 6 that travels back in time to prevent people from changing the past. Interesting. Number 6, multiple Disney IPs rumored that they are also more than just Indiana Jones from Disney development can be found here. Let's click on that for a second. Ori 3 by unknown Not Moon Studios. Project Wormwood by also unknown studio. Bethesda Softworks unclear is ZeniMax Studios proper or global publishing. External adaptations of ongoing partnerships. Halo Expanded Universe. Every year there's also more Halo novelizations and comics coming out. Fallout television series. A Netflix greenlit a Grounded television series. A Minecraft movie starring Jason Momoa is set to launch in 2025. Netflix greenlit a Gears of War animated television series. There's also been a long rumored Netflix partnering with Bethesda Games for the world of the Elder Scrolls. And Disney Plus and Game Pass have had a partnership going on since the release of the second season of Mandalorian. Every time a new live-action show drops, Disney Plus Game Pass owners have able to claim a month of Disney Plus is why they have subscribed before. Game Pass in Gold as of May 8th, 2023. There's also 433 titles of Game Pass for console, 416 titles for Game Pass for PC, and 347 titles on Game Pass Cloud streaming, with 63 titles announced as coming into the service for the future. Xbox Live Gold grants access to online service Xbox consoles, deals with Gold, deals with games with Gold, and free play days. Game Pass grants discount for all DLC games, service at 10% off. Games themselves discount at 10%. There's also Xbox Cloud Gaming and currently available on Android via app, Windows 10, 11, and iOS via web browser. EA Play and Game Pass. Currently, EA is offering all Game Pass Ultimate and Game Pass for PC members, a subscription for EA Play granting them access to all games on EA Play Vault, 10-hour trials for selected EA new releases, and 10% off of all EA content, Microsoft Store, and Origins. The future goal is to have at least one title, first-party title, releasing into Game Pass every quarter. This was really iterated by Phil Spencer during the interview of Kind of Funny Games. Game Pass Friends and Family offering that 14-day trial type thing. They're also doing backwards compatibility. And that is it. So that's a mouthful. And I know you guys are all like, boring, right? Travis says this is all a lie. What's going on, Pixel? Yeah, see, a lot of you guys, right? And I'm not judging if it's going to happen or not. I'm just reading for what it is, okay? If this works, or if, I don't know, let's say 50%, let's even say 20% of this stuff comes to fruition, there's a lot of stuff there. They have a lot of gaming studios, and this has nothing to do with the Activision Blizzard stuff, right? Once that happens, if and when that happens, that's just more on top of this of major things coming out each and every single year. Let's see. What we've been doing in the Fable in the whole time. Well, Fable, I think, is going to be a cluster. I do. I'm no hate against Playground Games. No hate whatsoever against Playground Games. I love what Playground Games does with their driving games, what the games they've created. But taking a game company and then making them make a game that they're not used to. We have more games that have failed based on people not used to doing those types of games and failing than we do people being successful with those games. So right off the bat, Playground Games has got all eyes on them going, don't screw this Fable game up. One, it would be different if they were doing a game that wasn't popular. It was like a brand new IP and they were trying something with Playground Games, because you'd be like, oh, cool. But they're taking a beloved franchise that people want, and they've canceled 2 Fable games, in the past, right? I think Legends was one of them, and there was another one that they've canceled. And now Fable 4, or whatever the next Fable game is coming out with Playground Games, and they're known for making car games. Well, taking that engine that makes the car games, and then now we have expectations that we're saying, oh, well, they're using this engine, and now they have other things going against them, because we're like, is Fable going to look as good as Forza Horizon 5? And I don't think that as those expectations are going to be, you're going to be let down. And even if it is as good looking as what Playground Games does with Forza Horizon 5 in the Fable series, we don't know if they can make an actual RPG type of game. So there's a lot going against Playground Games. I hope the best for them. I just hope that they don't rush this game out to be another Game Pass game as they did Redfall. Because could you imagine? Halo was pushed out 1 year later and it came out in a disarray. Redfall was delayed 1 year later and it's in a disarray. Starfield was delayed almost 1 year later. We'll see if that's in a disarray. And now, if they push Fable out and it's not ready yet, is it going to be in disarray and then fixed over time? Hopefully not. Breaking news, all of these games are delayed and not coming out until 2037. More common than people think. Also, more than bigger popular streamers use some sort of cheat. For what, Akuta Papa? I missed it. What you guys are saying. Playing against professional players in one, and they also a huge difference, and they also can play some of these streams. Good players can also tell pretty quickly if someone cheats. Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. Let's see. It's rare that I play a console game where there's somebody's head and shoulders better than the room. Just impossible to kill. Yeah, if you're on console, the controller, obviously there's people that are going to be better. If you're on a mouse and keyboard, it's leaps and bounds, and then obviously with cheats and stuff like that. Cheating happens sure on console, PC, but it's also almost like you guys are implying that super common. On PC, it is super common. On PC, it is super common. That's why most people don't want to play a crossplay. See, I think the people that are on PC that want crossplay want more people to come in because they have less people to play, and now they think they'll have more people to play because they want to own people by using their cheat codes, right? And people on console only want crossplay between other console players. They don't want to play with PC players because they know that people on PC can cheat, and if they can cheat, they probably are. And if you look at the big community that's happening with Tarkov and everything else, there's a ton of people cheating. It's easier to mod now. You also need to... Right, there's also peripherals that you can just plug into your console to also cheat now. And it's like pretty inexpensive. I cheat. I use automatic on Forza. Different type of cheating. What's going on, Phil? Philip, completed Redfall. I liked it. I don't understand why I did. There's also so many problems. There's nothing wrong with you liking the game. Just know that the game is unfinished, broke, and buggy, right? That's all that I've acknowledged. It happened to me 2 nights ago in Halo. I know because I played them again and whooped their ass. They didn't want to do it twice in a row. PC, I believe it. Console, nope. Console, there's more, right? I could bring up something and show you something that there's a little peripheral that you can like hook up and people can cheat. Including Warzone, Modern Warfare 2 nowadays. You're saying PC players want to rule the world and got calculator from 89s. People would be surprised in how many people on Xbox or Chronos or people own. Oh yeah. So let me bring this up. All right, so this is XIM. This is what Akuda Papa is talking about. Okay. So, what is it, right? So, it's an ultimate multi-input adapter. Unlocks your true potential in shooters. You play as Xbox Series XS, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC. Supports mouse, keyboards, gyro controls, cross-console control use, and any combination thereof, featuring smart translator, precision aim, system of all smart actions, advanced and micro engineering. Okay, so you just plug it in, right? You just plug this stuff in, right? And this is you can just pick this up, and anybody can do this. Okay, so you can do mouse and keyboard on console, which automatically gives you an advantage, right? Automatically gives you an advantage, right? It does gyro aiming. Right? But people do use this theory or boss, right? You know what I mean? More and more people are getting this. The more and more people are doing stuff like this. Now everybody can be Shroud, right? So you got to start looking at stuff like, is that guy cheating? Now, technically, he's not cheating, But he has an advantage, right? He has an advantage because he's using mouse and keyboard. Right? And this is why a lot of people don't play PvP games anymore, because they figure, you know, they're casual, they want to play, but they're not getting better. They're playing, but they're not getting better because they're always going up against, and it doesn't have to be like a majority of the population playing. It just has to be one guy in the lobby, right? One guy on your team or the other team that wrecks your day, right? No, they're cheating. But you know what I'm saying? Right? It doesn't have to be everybody. It could be one guy. Now think of the population. Let's say there's 1,000 people playing, you know, concurrently across the thing, and only 1% of those people actually has the stuff. Well, you're going to see them at least multiple times within the actual, you know, the matchmaking and whatnot. Right? And this is crazy. What's the price of this? Right? What's the price? $124. Right? $124. Now that's like I'm not gonna pick that up, but people do it. People do it all the time. That's why I prefer not to play PvP games on PC anymore. I used to play Battlefield all the time on PC. But then people hack it or cheat, and now on console, now it's easy for people on console to cheat as well. So it's like, do I suck that bad, or is there people cheating? I'm pretty decent, right? I don't really play much PvP, right? My reflexes are not as good, so I know I'm not as good as I used to be. But there's sometimes you can tell, especially with the kill cam. The kill cam is what gives it off, right? Like when we played Battlefront a couple weeks ago, right? You looked at some of the shots that people were killing me, and I'm like, how did that guy hit me from behind, like the curve of the curvature of the world, of the mountain? When you get into a higher level competitive gaming, that one player is now 1 of 50, right? And you're going to see them over and over, especially in ranked matches and stuff like that. And here's the thing, out of sight, out of mind, boss, right? Like back in the day, if there was cheaters, there wasn't really no like internet to know. So if there was a cheater out there that was doing it, you wouldn't really know about it, right? He could have been hacking or doing stuff or whatnot. And you would have been like, something's weird, but we didn't know about it. But now we know about it, right? And it's so big that Bungie's literally sued multiple cheating companies to make money, and they win, right? They're making millions and millions of dollars off of these people that buy cheats and whatnot. To answer your question, Travis, do I think like half of these things are going to come true? I mean, who's to say if I say one way or the other that they are? I mean, a lot of the stuff that they're working on, we know that they're working on. They're still supporting Fallout 76. Starfield is coming out. We do know that there's a Doom or something coming out, right? I don't know about the Marvel IP type of thing like that. I mean, there's hard facts and there's rumors and leaks, right? To say that the rumors and leaks are going to all fall to the wayside, you can't say that, and I can't say that they're coming true, and you can't say they're not coming true. We don't know, right? We have our thought process on what you think is going to happen, but what's not going to happen. All the games that they've announced in here are going to come out at some time. Just are they going to come out finished or not? That's the speculation, right? Out of the 14 games that or studios that they're talking about in this Xbox game studios here, I mean, most of these I think would come out sometime between now and 2025, right? If you're that pathetic in life that you have to cheat just to do good in a video game, geez, you're extremely pathetic. Yeah, but they don't care, right? Did you watch that video, boss, of the Wiggle? Did you watch that Wiggle video of Tarkov? Like, think about that, right? It's a great video, by the way. It's a great video if you haven't seen it. Just look up like the Tarkov Wiggle, okay? Where you're like, how many people are cheating? And game after game after game after game he went into, he just did the wiggle. Just did the wiggle with his character, and someone across the map would also do it, right? And what he thought was like, how many people could be cheating? Once he figured out, like he was like, I don't know if this person's cheating, this person might be cheating. Then he found out the wiggle. And then every game, he said, every single game for 2 hours that he went into, there was a cheater. 100,000 tournament live streaming YouTubers are cheating in the tournaments. Big money that people make me sick. Yeah. Yeah. Right. And the defense is it's just a video game. Right. But it's different when there's money involved, man. There's money involved. But yeah. To say this, Travis, if any of these coming out, look, I'm going to look at it as a glass half full, not glass half empty for this scenario, right? If Microsoft fulfills 50% of everything that I just read, and there was a lot that I read, of all the studios, third party, first party, contract work or whatever, if 50% of that comes true, that's a lot of fucking games coming out in the next year and a half to 2 years, right? In year 3 or year 4 and year 5 of the console, and that would be a good thing. Now, that's a far-fetched thing, though, saying that, well, all the games are going to suck. As long as they're done with the games and the games are good, they don't come out like Redfall, okay? Not that it matters because people are going to buy broken games regardless. But if the games come out and they're pretty decent, then that's a good record for them. But here we are today, and we can look at this and go, yeah, that's not going to happen. Why has it got to be empty? Or full? It's just half. There you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just... I don't want, and I've said this in the past, I don't want Xbox and Microsoft to go belly up and leave. Because if that happens, those of you that are PlayStation fans don't realize this, but your quality would go down as well because there would be no competition. Okay? Why would they have to be the best console if there's no other console to beat? Right? And again, Nintendo's there, but Nintendo's in a different field. Their console sales, and sure, Sony would still win in the console sales of Nintendo, but they're not competing for the same player base. You see what I'm saying? The reason people bring up Sony and Xbox is because they're fighting for the same player base. And if Microsoft goes bye-bye, and there's no more, let's say the whole cloud system fails and it's just the systems now, somebody else has to come into the picture. Somebody. I don't care if it's independent. I don't care if it's another company that comes back to life. If Sega Dreamcast is back, something has to give. You can't have one console because then they just run away with it. Look at what happened with Nintendo and Sega, right? Nintendo was nowhere in competition with Sega. Sega was just destroyed. Okay, the Sega Genesis, the Sega Dreamcast or Dream System. Those systems are the Xbox of today. Nintendo is the Sony of today, back then. Both Destiny and COD are starting to ban users. Yeah, good. They should all be banned. That's bad for gaming, right? That's bad for gaming because then the people that were playing the game that were cheating are no longer playing the game, and now there's engagements wrong. Right? And think about this. Game Pass is another way of monitoring people that are playing the game, and if they are cheating, they can just basically cut you off from all games, not just that one game. You see what I'm saying, Akuda? Right? They could ban you because you cheated in Call of Duty. They could literally ban your account completely. And then you're going to have to pay another campaign or, another account to buy Game Pass so you can play those games again. Even hell, I watch Tim the Tatman, even if they saw lots of cheaters are using aimbots or wall hacks, spectating his view. Yeah. Yeah, good, good. Yeah. Well, it's not the console, but the game when you're logging into multiplayer game, it should have something that is seeing and using this weird shit. I agree. I agree. Yeah, I don't ever want Microsoft to go belly up, right? And I don't believe if you are an Xbox fanboy or a Sony fanboy that you would want your competition to be completely gone. Because if you don't think for 1 second that the quality of your whatever you choose would stay the same, I got some land to sell you. Boom, pixel. Cheats are everywhere. Ask my wife. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. So those are all the things that we covered today. We covered No Man's Sky. How do they make all their money? And they made a crap ton of money in the beginning, and they don't need any more money now. And what they're selling. We talked about that. We talked about what Xbox has in its future in the pipeline, rumored leaks, and actual facts of what they're coming out with. And we talked about Redfall, about their numbers, about the number 2 most popular game on Game Pass, number 12 total on Xbox, and yet the achievements don't show that whatsoever, which is kind of strange. And I wish they would be more transparent about their numbers. Well, it's like WWE Wrestling when WCW and ECW got bought. WWE went through some dark times in the past 10 years. It was a horrible product. Right, boss? Right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, as much of as a Sony fan you are, you have to agree with me. You don't want your competition to just be gone, right? You know that your quality would drop in the games that you have for the system that you love. Would drop because they don't need to compete with anybody, right? I mean, it happens all the time. You see it happen with Madden, with those sports games. When they signed that 10-year deal or a 15-year deal and there was no other sports games on the market, they didn't have to do shit. They knew that you were going to buy the Madden. They knew you were going to buy the FIFA. They knew you were going to buy, the baseball game. And you couldn't do anything about it. They're like, give me your money. And this is why their sales went up through the skyrocket. And they're like, well, how do we even make more of this? Let's nickel and dime them for microtransactions and roster updates. Oh, for sure. I totally get if you're a fan and you want the other team to suffer, right? Obviously. But let's do a sports analogy, right? If the rival of the Boston Red Sox and the Yankees, okay, if you're a Yankee fan, you hate the Red Sox. And if you're a Red Sox fan, you hate the Yankees. But you wouldn't want to see the Boston Red Sox or the Yankees just fold and not be a thing anymore, right? Because that's better entertainment for you. Nobody wants their rivals to be completely gone. And if you do, you're lying to yourself. No, Nintendo's not competition for either of them. Nintendo is in their own island. Nintendo could come out tomorrow with a brand new system that puts discs back in. It's like a CD drive back in. Everyone's like, "Oh my god, Nintendo, beautiful!" And even if it failed miserably, they would just wait 3 more years and come out with something else because they would still have so much money from when they had a system that was good that they could just thrive on it for 20 more years. Honestly, what the standards of Xbox has had for the Series S and One eras, them having the amount of stuff being made is scary. Instead of making amazing things, they just want to feed Game Pass with McDoubles. Yes. Yes. Right? And if you don't think that they're all working kind of together in the industry, right? They all have their their lanes that they're in. Nintendo's lane is from birth to death. They don't have a majority of anything. They just, when someone first plays their first video games, mom and dad are going to buy a Nintendo probably first thing. Okay, just because Nintendo has that brand that brand capability with Mario and Sonic and Donkey Kong and all those stuff, right? That's just gonna get bigger over the years now with the movies, right? So they have their lane, and then they know they lose their clientele when they get to their teenage years, and that's when Xbox and Sony take over, right? And Xbox is not trying to compete with Sony in that lane. What they're trying to do is now they're trying to take over. They're trying to pass the torch. They're trying to grab the torch from Nintendo and go, hey, come on over and play some kid games and regular games across any platform, any service, any television set that you want, right? If it's a mobile phone, a tablet, a PC, an Xbox, whatever it is. And Sony has their clientele. They're like, we're making high-end games for people, single player, right? For the majority of it, single player, as of right now, single player story games that are second to none. Come on over, right? You might like fantasy, you might like sci-fi, whatever it is. Come on over and do the experience. And that's what they have. They all have their niches. They're all taking a piece of that chunk of stuff. Overall, yeah, they're all in consoles, right? But they're honed in on certain, parameters of ages of what they're doing. 30, just like Batman needs a Joker. Exactly. Super child-friendly, Akuda. Super child-friendly. And you know what it is? When we go in the car to go somewhere, do you know the competition for Nintendo? Is the iPad. Or your cell phone. Next time you have kids, if you guys are out there and they have an iPad and a Nintendo, and if they have a Nintendo and a Nintendo Switch and an iPad, what do they grab when they go in the car? What do they grab when they go on vacation? What are they choosing? Right? You know what I mean? Like that's what they go for. Nintendo, my son grabs that. He grabs his Switch, I would say 7 times out of 10. Right? He brings his iPad. It all depends if he wants to listen to music or whatnot. But if he wants to play games, he's grabbing his Switch. Kids, the thought scared me. Boss, I'm telling you, if you ever have kids, your whole life will, everything you think of right now would be completely thrown a wrench in. You'll think completely different. You don't think you will, but you'll completely different your thought process. I guarantee you, boss, if you ever have kids, this is what you do. You'd be like, this is my PlayStation, right? This is my PlayStation. You'd be like, you have a kid, he's like 5 years old. He's like, Dad, I want a PlayStation. He's like, hell no, you're getting a Nintendo. You're getting a Nintendo Switch 2 is what you're getting. Because the games. Pixel's doing his he's trying to do some material for like a stand-up act. That's what he's doing. That's the way Pixel, that's the way like you type. Like you're trying to do like a stand-up act. Good portable system with basic games that heads and tails higher in quality in comparison to mobile. Yeah. Hence why there's rumors of PlayStation doing a mobile thing, right? And then on top of that, Xboxes, this is why they're trying to get in with Nvidia. This is why they're trying to get in with other systems to be what's that other one? The AXC or whatever the hell it is, the other mobile device, right? This is why Xbox is trying to get into the mobile market type of thing. Because then they'll be like, hey, you're going in the car, you're going in the plane, you're doing something. Instead of grabbing that Switch, you might grab that other mobile device that might have Game Pass on it. Let me see if you guys have any questions, because we're gonna end this real fast or soon. I should say real fast. 2 questions by Travis. Okay. What's your favorite anime? I'm just curious to see what it is. I don't really watch anime, but what's it called? When I did watch anime, Akira, I liked Vampire Hunter D when I was younger. I don't really watch any kind of anime now. What's the worst RPG you've ever played? Specifically, RPG. The worst RPG I've ever played. That would have to be Redfall. That would have to be Redfall. There's already enough McDonald's in the world. We don't need more. I'm telling you right now, Krebsy, you don't have to agree with me in any way, shape, or form. But 5 years from now, we're going to have a completely different conversation, and Game Pass is going to be more prominent than ever. What's your favorite anime, and why is it Star Wars Visions? I saw that they came out with the second one. I don't know if I'm going to watch it. I don't even think I watched all the first season. When I have kids, I'm going to work the kids' goes to the Windows watch. You leave, and they are also playing for PlayStation or Xbox. Prominent doesn't mean good. I didn't say it did. Did the word good come out of my mouth? I just said that Game Pass is going to be more prominent. That's all I said. McDonald's doesn't have the best burgers, but they're the most prominent fast food chain in the world. Nowhere did I say that Game Pass was going to be good. I just said that Game Pass will be more prominent. You guys laugh at it. I'm telling you, there's gonna be a time, and you're gonna be like, I can't believe this shit's happening. Right? Back in the 80s, when Mac and Windows were going at it, and one decided to make hardware and one decided to make software. Right? The one that went to go make hardware won that. And the one that went to go make software went to go win that. And back then, you're like, there's no way we're using Windows. And now, what is it, like 90% Windows? The deal with Nintendo is your kid's meal. Yeah. I'll go as far as saying this. Are you ready for this? In 5 years' time, I bet you Nintendo, because they're not angry about this. They wouldn't hate this, right? They would market it in a way, or they would do some parameters, right? Like you couldn't make a Mario game to play on Xbox, but I guarantee you they'll let Game Pass be on the Switch or whatever the next system is to play the Xbox games on their Switch, because you would have to buy a Switch. And then if you're paying for Xbox Game Pass and you can play it on your Switch, I guarantee you that might happen. I shouldn't say guarantee that might happen. I think that will happen. I don't want to say guarantee might, because that's an oxymoron. I think it will happen. They won't allow, and Nintendo's already loosened up on it a little bit, right? Because you could get Mario on your iPhone. You could play Mario game, like a Mario game or Mario Kart on an iPhone. But bringing Xbox Game Pass onto the Switch, and they can make money off of that as well, I don't know. Don't be like Phil and settle for mediocrity. I mean, I'm not settling. I'm just letting you know where the industry is going to go. Nintendo needed Samsung. Microsoft needed them both. It's going on. All right. We are done for the today. Tonight, I don't know what we're going to play tonight. Tonight, we might continue playing some Jedi Survivor and find the stuff, or we might play some Battlefield 2042. Go back in there. I've been having fun with the breakthrough when we do play high action and stuff like that. So we might play that tonight. Tomorrow night, we're going to be playing some Division 2. The week manhunt happens, so we usually play with Sarge, and I think Brain will come in, and I think Sean or whoever else that wants to come in, you can come in and play with us. We'll be on the Division on Xbox. And then Thursday night, we have Generation X Gaming, the weekly podcast that goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. And then Friday afternoon, I'm usually on Lono's podcast. I don't know if I'm going to be on this week. I don't know if my wife has anything planned. It's my birthday on Friday, so I don't know if we'll be doing something or going out somewhere with the family in the afternoon. I think my son gets off a normal time, so I don't know what's happening yet. So I'll let you guys know if I'm going to be on that podcast probably tomorrow, and definitely I'll let Lono know if I'm going to be on there or not. Other than that, I do appreciate you guys coming out, hanging out with us for the conversation, and I'll see you guys tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern for probably some Battlefield 2042. Peace.